So I know I already asked you this, but when Fox approached you guys to join in, and why do you think they came in, and what value do you think they saw in Boom?
Yeah. So so there's kind of two levels of an answer to that. So the first was, my joke with Hollywood is, and earmuffs for my Hollywood friends, but they'll laugh, they know and they understand, is publish a comic book, buy yourself a safe, put the comic book in the safe, bury it in your backyard, and in the morning Hollywood will find it. Okay. So we've been publishing since 2005. Two Guns got made in 2013. The studios knew who we were. They tracked us down. They found us. Paramount, Universal, Fox, all these companies we had great relationships with. Fox approached us, and I think it was 2014, 2015, I'm a little rusty, and said, hey, why don't we do a first look agreement? Because what they saw was we had a tremendous amount of original content that was engaging, that was exciting to them, and had possibilities to turn into movies. Now, since we engaged in the first look conversation, we were very consistent about developing a skill set of finding the writer that they were excited about and finding the comic book that they were excited about and marrying them together. And that's called producing.
Yep.
So we worked very hard, had deep agency relationships, were well known in town, had direct writer relationships. And then for many of the pieces of material, we would attach a director, which is extremely difficult and its own piece of art to be able to do that. And so we consistently supplied Fox with projects that they were very excited about, packaged with talent that they really believed in, to the point that when it came time to talk about an investment, they had seen our consistency and how we were able to supply them with material that they really believed in. And so the first look was the agency through which then they said, we'd like to have a deeper relationship with you, and we have seen your ability to consistently provide for us, and so we believe in you.
That just provides a tremendous amount of value to them because, having a director attached, having somebody already there who's a known entity who can champion that project,
Yep.
It just adds a whole level of credibility to what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was great. And they were able to provide us with investment capital, which was able to grow Boom. And from their perspective, they saw, they don't control the company, but what they saw was the opportunity to foster the company's growth with the philosophy that if they foster our growth and they increase our reach, then they're going to get better projects from us.
Yep.
And so that is proving out. You see things like, Buffy and Firefly and R.L. Stine that's happening with us where, that's the results of the Fox investment.
So let's talk about R.L. Stine for a minute.
Sure.
That's super exciting. I'm a huge fan of Goosebumps growing up, and
spectacular.
And I think I read, as a kid, you're reading those stories and they're scary, and you're like,
Yep.
I can't read those; they're too scary. But there's no,
you're just drawn to them.
You're drawn to them, and
Yep.
I've read so many of those books. What was it like having him kind of come on board and do a book with you guys?
It's mind-blowing. I still remember, I know you had on your podcast, you had Bryce, and he talked about, the sort of courting Stine and that relationship. And I still remember at the airport when Bryce and I were coming back from New York Comic-Con a couple Comic-Cons ago, and he was like, look, I finally got through to Bob, so I think it's going to happen. And I remember my head just smoking and my head exploding. We've had these opportunities to work with these, world-class talents, and, it's just it's a bucket list item.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he's somebody who has just a tremendous fan base, a tremendous, body of work. Yep. And the fact that he's just kind of like, he's known for being a prose author. He's known for being a traditional.
But he loves comics.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but EC, he's old enough that he read the EC comics in the 50s when it came out. And Tales from the Crypt, that's to him kind of what Goosebumps is. Because when he was a kid and he was looking at horror, and he was scared by it, and he was attracted to it, right? And he was reading that stuff off the rack because that stuff was edgy back in the day, And so that's what he sees Goosebumps as providing now. And now we have the new series Just Beyond.
And nice. And can you explain a little bit what Just Beyond is?
I'm going to tease you. I'm going to tease you. We're going to be doing a lot of press this weekend about it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's exciting. And so what's the next thing on the horizon for Boom? What do you kind of vision as your growth for the future?
Well, I think so. One of the keys is this year the comic book shops are down 7%.
Wow.
And Boom is up 6%. So what that means is we're really up 13%.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of that. And we got that through a relationship with the retailers. They have supported us, a relationship with the fans who've clearly supported us, or else we wouldn't be in our growth like that. So very excited about that. Our book market is up 35%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a testament to the work you guys are putting out and the whole team.
Thank you. But it's also the growth of kids that we're talking about. It's, the 3 million kids reading Dogman that are now going to be reading Kaboom books from us, probably just beyond with R.L. Stine.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to the growth in YA publishing, which is our Boombox imprint. And so that's Lumberjanes and that's Giant Days and all that stuff that goes with it. And then, of course, there's more adult, in the book category. Adult means, 18 and up, growth in readership in comic books. And so, civilians are reading comics and they're getting into it and they love it. And, there's a lot of great publishers that are in the space. And the more great content that's made, the more it articulates for the audience that they can find great entertainment with comics.
Absolutely. I'm reading Sisters of Sorrow now.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think I'm going back and rereading Potter's Field.
Ah, that's a classic.
And
Potter's Field.
And then
you didn't think Mark Waid could do that, did you?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Yeah, I found out that Waid is a huge Ellery Queen guy.
Oh, really?
So he loves mysteries and sort of that whole sort of world, and so that was very exciting. And of course, working with Kurt Sutter is spectacular. Kurt is so much fun because he's just very straightforward. Like when we first hit him up for Sisters of Sorrow, he was like, I want to do nuns with guns. And we were like, okay. And he was like, you're still talking to me? We were like, are you kidding?
That's an
like,
awesome
have you
idea.
read what we publish?
Yeah.
Like, we're in. So I think he was he just kept waiting for the hammer to fall that like we were not going to be into it. So.
And you were like, no, you keep coming up with good ideas.
Yeah,
keep
exactly.
running with them.
Yeah, no, I love Kurt. He's incredible.
That's always exciting when you're working with talent who's just kind of like super passionate about what they do.
Dude, go to Kurt Sutter's website. So now it should be wallpapered with shots of Sons of Anarchy and The Shield. I mean, he's between the two shows, he's done 15 years at Fox, right? So and instead, it's festooned with comic book artwork. He loves comic books, and he loves sort of like, he has that, it's a uniquely Kurt voice, but it sort of has a Tarantino edge to it, and he loves comic books, how they can express that gritty pulp sensibility, because he loves to like rock 'em, sock 'em, end with a cliffhanger, surprise you, shock you. And then he's smart in how he elevates the characters to kind of a Shakespearean level. And I know has that sort of voice inside of him that's, sort of like, Sons of Anarchy was Hamlet on motorcycles. It was like, I have an overbearing mother. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
So it's that beautiful marriage. That's his voice. And like, I think he really sees it in comics.
I love it. And it's kind of, in a way, deeply tragic. And it's kind of also very endearing and very relatable.
That's the Shakespearean. Yeah, he does that in spades.